We're at Northey Island in the Blackwater Estuary in Essex. Northey represents the single largest salt marsh habitat within this whole estuary. And salt marsh is really important. It's an increasingly rare habitat, and a lot of species that we find on and around Northey and in the mudflats in the estuary are red list species, so they're at risk. Species like Brent geese, the redshank, the avocet, the dunlin, curlew, they're all at risk across the UK, and particularly for this area because rising sea levels, climate change is causing erosion and causing loss of vegetation and feeding sites for those species. And what National Trust has been doing here for the last 30 years is working and innovating about restoring and creating more of that habitat. And the latest phase of the project is creating an island for the birds.
So we've created the island by first creating a platform of sediment dredged from nearby Maldon Harbour. Once that was complete, we've brought 3 redundant Thames lighters, which are barges traditionally used in the Thames to transport goods up the Essex coast. They're no longer needed and they've been sat in Maldon Harbour for about 3 decades unused. So we've now found a use for them. We've towed them around about 2 miles from Maldon Harbour and sunk them on top of the platform. We've then filled them with mud dredged from the harbour before topping them with gravel, which is ideal for birds like little terns or oyster catchers to nest on. This is the first time that we're aware that barges have been used to create a habitat in this way. It's very challenging. They're big barges. They range from 20 metres to about 32 metres in length, so they're quite a big vessel to be towing around and moving and positioning in exactly the way that we need them to. And they also need to sit very, very close together because they're forming the core and the structure of our island, and then be filled and held in place to make sure that they don't move out of the way. So the barges are right out in the eastern side of the island on the furthest extent of the salt marsh. And in that area there's quite a big breach that happened somewhere around the early 1900s. The water floods in there with each tide and causes quite a lot of erosion inside the salt marsh, meaning that we're losing salt marsh in that area. By positioning the island where we have, that will slow down the flow of the tides coming into that channel and help us sort of restore and protect that inner salt marsh that's so important in this area.
National Trust has a 100-year strategy plan, a coastal adaptation strategy, which looks at the impacts of climate change. So this bird island is that latest phase, but actually we'll continue to try new things, we'll look at new schemes, we'll look at what else we may be able to do going into the future that will help protect these habitats and these species within this estuary.